Namaste. Today, in the lecture of business research method, hello, good morning, and namaste. Today, we are going to talk about ethical issues, qualitative research, and literature search. This belongs to the Bachelor's of Business Studies, BBS fourth year business research method subject. Okay. Uh, Today, we will be talking about what are the ethical issues, what are the ethical issues that are in uh, mm, the research process that a researcher must follow, a researcher must respect during the research process. These are known as ethical issues. And then we'll be talking about what are the characteristics of qualitative research, which research is known as qualitative research, and what is the pattern of research that carries the characteristics of qualitative research. Okay. And then we will be talking a bit about the literature search, or also known as literature review, or locating the literature, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's begin. What are the general ethical issues in research? There are multiple issues, the ethical concerns that a researcher should maintain whenever they are involved in a research process, right? Because we're going for some information. People are really generous that they give us the information that we ask with them for our research purpose. In any ways, even if this is for our degree, that is ultimately it is beneficial for the nation as we come up with some new knowledge. But still, this has not yet been implemented, and people don't have that much knowledge about what is research. Right? So, whenever we go and try to explore from the society, then we need to be pretty much honest regarding their privacy. Right? As a researcher, we must look at multiple levels of information. Right? Some might be their personal information, some might be their family issues, and uh, so on and so forth. It also varies. If you are going for the qualitative or narrative form type of research, and then you may not be sufficient if you will not come up with the very detailed information regarding the family, or regarding the research site. Okay. And voluntary nature of participation and right to withdraw. You know, if any participant, any research participant, that can be your vital participant as well, even if they are the vital participants, if they want to quit in any point of the research process, then it has to be voluntary. People can withdraw anytime. Consent is really must. Without having consent, without having the consultation regarding the topic, or regarding the purpose of our information, we cannot conduct our research. Right? We need to uh, inform them regarding why we are here. Why do we need the information? What is the purpose? What will be the benefit for the society or the individual in individual basis, or in societal level? What are the benefits for the society? These are the things, right? And then maintaining confidentiality of data. In research, most of the time, if we had the consent, and then people are happy to share about their information, right? And then the researcher can publish their name whenever they publish their research papers or research book or any kind of report, right? Otherwise, the participants of the research, they stay kind of, identification is hidden anyways, right? That is the confidentiality. Who said what? Participant one said that. The participant one, age 40, male, that is the perception of that particular group, right? There is no need of any individual information in our research process, right? That's why we need to maintain the confidentiality of the information. That means maintaining the confidentiality of the participant, right? Reaction of participants to how data are collected. We need to review. That is also another ethical concern that we need to follow. We need to get the feedback from the research participants at the end of our research process, asking them how was our process of collecting the data information. Effects on participants on how data are used, analyzed, and reported. What were the effects, right, after the research? After the research or the information is disseminated in concerned institution or concerned place, that there is always effects of it, right? A researcher must inform the participants regarding the outcome of that research, what happened, behavior and objectivity of researcher. Researcher must be realistic. They shouldn't be they shouldn't be rigid in something. Going to the village and trying to get sophisticated, luxurious like restaurant, not possible, right? That is the objectivity based upon the reality, right? And how to behave with the people, how to behave with the participants is also another important aspect of the research. Okay, and then we can see the hill pattern of the information, right there. And ethical considerations. What are the ethical considerations in research? Dishonesty, fraud, bias, honesty. That these are things, right? And maintaining the standards, duty, morals. These are the things. Okay, so these are the ethical considerations in research that we need to follow as researcher. We need to follow all these procedures. And sometimes, like I want to share my research experience. I did my research in Donwar village, that is an ethnic group. It's in Lalitpur district. It's close to Lalitpur. And then I went there. I communicated with them regarding why I am here, and they had some expectations from me, as I was from international university and then from abroad and coming for the research. They were expecting something, but I couldn't give anything anyways because I had very limited resource, but I had contributed in some social aspects, so that's why it was quite easy for me. And still, I'm in communication with them because they call me for some issues and what to do next and things. So this is the thing. This is the behavioral aspect, right? I didn't like disseminated the reaction from my professors and all, and the feedbacks from my friends and my colleagues, right, regarding my research. I didn't like disseminate the report to them, but in a way that your information were quite interesting and things, that this sort of behavioral, uh, uh, let's say, sharing that we can do, right? We could like say it was really fabulous, it was really wonderful information that you had given, it was quite interesting that you have shared with us. We could praise them in that way. That is the behavioral aspect and all. So these are the general ethical issues in research. It is really important. That's why we have discussed it a little bit longer. Okay. And then what are the ethical concerns? Still, we have multiple things you can just go through if you want to. The language and then serious concerns and safeguardings, minimize harm to the researcher, then anonymity and confidentiality. Anonymity means keeping the information anonymous, right? Not disclosing the identity. That is anonymity. Okay. So consent and agreements, these are the things, right? So these are the ethical concerns that we need to understand before we go for the research, right? Let's talk something regarding what is qualitative research. We have already said about there are different types of research, and qualitative and quantitative are uh, widely used to uh, approach to the research. We have already said about it, right? So what is qualitative research then? A holistic approach to questions, a recognition that human realities are complex, a broad question, right? Qualitative research is more subjective and more narrative informed. Okay? It needs in-depth inquiry, right? It needs very intensive inquiry. Now, this is the broad question, creating the broad question, posing a broad question and trying to explore all the multiple dimensions of a particular aspect in qualitative form, in narrative form, okay, in ethnographic form. The focus is on human experiences. You can see here, right? Focuses are human experiences. It's not A plus B is equals to, okay? 2 minus 1 is equals to A plus B whole up square is equals to. It's not in this way. It's all about human experiences, which is differ from one person to another, one community to another, one setup to another, or one setup to ruler setup. Everything is different, right? So it's all about human experiences. That's why it is subjective in nature. The research strategies used generally feature sustained contact with people in settings where those people normally spend their time. Context of human behavior. Long-term, prolonged engagement is really important. Long-term relationship is really important for the better qualitative research. Understanding the context, understanding the settings of that research is really important. You want to understand about the societal life in real ground. But if you reach somewhere in a pub in a village where all the people are from Matwali community, or let's say alcohol consuming community, and then you want to talk with the males, and then they are all in pub, and you talk with them in that pub, maybe having some pegged with them, maybe want to little, maybe to make your like easy access. These are the strategies. Again, it's not, I'm not taking it any ways, any other ways, but if we're going for the research, and then we need to maintain this because there is ethical concern. At least you shouldn't be in the process of research. I'm not saying about at the end. Okay, so context is really important. A form of social inquiry that focuses on the way people interpret and make sense of their experiences and the world in which they live. What is the world view of the individual? What is an individual's perspective, or what is a community's perspective towards the particular context, particular issue they're living and all. This is all about the experiences, explaining the experiences in a comprehensive way. Right? What are the characteristics of qualitative research then? Descriptive focus. I told you already. Right? It focuses on experiences and in-depth information. Right? Emergent design, because these days like emotions are being more uh, mm, highly played buzzword in the world. Right? So whenever we want to uh, do something with emotions, and then we need to go through in-depth information. So this is emergent design, because without understanding the human behavior, nothing will happen and nothing will be effective. That is the that is becoming a fundamental principle in organizational discourse. So data collection is the in the natural setting. This is another characteristics. So we call like ethnographic as well. That also comes within the mm, qualitative research. Right? So qualitative methods of data collection. This means descriptive, right, narrative, emphasis on human as instrument. What does it mean? What is an instrument? Instrument is simply a tool, right? So human is treated as tool for, means for information, right? That is the that is the characteristics. Human as a tool for information. Without understanding the human in depth, no qualitative research can take place, right? So, and these are the differences between quantitative and qualitative research. In quantitative research, the fundamental principle says ask specific questions, narrow questions, specified questions, testable questions, right? Ask broad and general questions in qualitative research. Collects data from participants, collecting data consisting largely of words, text, or image or pictures, right? Collects data from participants. Means data. It collects data. Data means more specific form of information that is testable, that is verifiable. Right? It doesn't mean text is not verifiable, but text can be lengthier, right? But testifiable data are more precise and specific, objective, right? Objective information as data and subjective information in qualitative data. Okay, in that way, it's easy to understand. Analyzes numbers using statisticals, description and analysis of words of for themes. Qualitative research deals with subjective. That means it deals with the words, the phrases that people have said, their facial expression that they have shown wherever they were sharing the information. Right. These are the differences we can go through. And the characteristics of qualitative research again, it forms its report with words as opposed to statistical purposes, other processes. It's not statistical. It's not like on a objective form. It's in subjective form. It is in descriptive form. It is in lengthier form. Okay. These are the characteristics you can go through. And then assumptions of qualitative design involves field work. Field work is really important. This is near to, let's say, mm, near to mandatory. Right? Field work is near to mandatory. Okay, it's not diversible. Field work is must. This is the prerequisite for qualitative research. Okay, it has to be descriptive. It has to describe all the settings, all the context, right? And then it has to be inductive in nature while receiving the information. Okay? They induct few important aspects. They drag in, they drag out from the detail that has been provided by the research participants. And they make some new meaning out of that net, right? Whatever information is collected, then they induct some new knowledge from there, right? So these are the assumptions of prerequisites. This has to be done whenever we go for qualitative research. Fieldwork is must. Research gives a holistic approach. Research incorporates emergent design. Research is descriptive, primary concern with process rather than outcomes. These are the assumptions or characteristics of qualities of qualitative research. Okay, these are the qualitative research methods. It is the first one is phenomenology, and then second one is grounded theory, and third one is case history, and fourth is ethnography. Okay, what is phenomenology? This is type of qualitative research. Okay? Types of qualitative research or approaches to qualitative research. Okay, to understand the meaning of everyday actions or experience for individuals. Right, that is phenomenon. aspect, daily life, everyday action aspect, everyday action, right? Grounded theory, to develop a theory regarding a particular phenomenon that is driven from the data, right? Is there any relationship between phenomenology and grounded theory? Let's try to understand, okay? Let's see here. To understand the meaning of everyday actions or experience for individuals, right? Phenomenological research is conducted to understand the daily life phenomenon. In this example, let's take an example, okay? It is to understand the phenomenon, understand the context, understanding the meaning of a phenomenon. Right? I play football. What does that mean? I play football in the morning as my regular exercise, right? I play football at what time? In the afternoon with my friends, right? Phenomenology means it tries to understand the meaning of what happened, right? And then grounded theory, to develop a theory regarding a particular phenomenon. Let's say playing football in the very morning is really good. Is it good with full belly, full water belly, right? Developing a theory regarding one particular phenomenon that was to play football in the morning. And case study, to describe and explain a particular case or a small number of cases. Playing football with full belly or with a plenty of water intake, immediate after the plenty of water intake, what happened? Oh, there was a guy, he was fell down and then he was really suffocated. Later on, we could find out that he was full belly with water. This is the case study. Okay. What is the meaning of drinking water? What is the need of drinking water before playing the football? What happened? A guy fell down. How? When? While playing the football. Right? Then case study comes and describes what had happened. And then there is the development of theory, that is grounded theory method. Okay. Let's not drink water before 10 minutes of your play. Right? Theory is developed. Ethnography. What is ethnography then? To describe or interpret a cultural or social group or system. That involves cultural aspect or social aspect in research. Need of engagement, being insider, prolonged engagement are really important in ethnography. Ethnography means learning the living of people. Okay, living includes their income, their culture, their rituals, their value system, everything. Okay, you can go through and then you can understand. Whenever you understand the meaning, trustworthiness and credibility of qualitative research, transparency. The last point is transparency. Okay, it has to be credible, complete, and accurate. trustworthiness. Okay. How to make your research, your qualitative research more trustworthy. If we maintain the credibility, if we have our research has the capacity of analyzability, right? Informations were properly analyzed, the data were accurate. Discussion in the final document that ensures the transparency, right? Usefulness, ability to do something of value with the outcomes. Support or rejection of current hypothesis or emergence of new hypotheses. Right? These are the usefulness of research, qualitative research. Validity of the interpretations and recommendations to the extent they are supported by the methodology. Transferability of research to the extent that the documentation disclose its strengths and limitations, right? Whenever we are presenting our final research, we need to share our strengths and limitations, right? On the basis of our limitation, on the basis of our claimed strength, how transferable our information or our research is, or our context is uh, clearly understood. Okay, these are the usefulness. Strength and weakness, it's very easy, right? We need really long information, huge information. That's why time consuming. No clear strategy, because strategy can be changed being based upon the situation or the context, right? Interpretation of data may be subjective. Yes, it is subjective in nature, but it shouldn't be biased, because subjectivity may ensure more biasness, right? Twisting a word make really huge sense, right? And then provides rich data. These are the strengths because they go in depth, right? And then investigate complex issues, explain a phenomena, identify and evaluate factors that help solve the problems, right? These are the strengths. Generate new ideas for theories. Why? Because we are rooted into that research site. We are engaged, right? These are the strengths and weaknesses of qualitative research. Time consuming, resource consuming, and then having more possibility of dishonesty and manipulation of information and data are some weaknesses of qualitative research. Okay. Then we are in unit 2 now, and that is literature sourcing and theoretical framework. Today we will be talking a bit about literature searching. Okay, what is literature review, literature search, or locating literature? There are multiple synonyms that have been using to reflect upon the literature search or literature review. A literature search involves searching and compiling all the literature, books, journals, online portals, and all available on a specific topic. It is carried out to identify knowledge gap in a particular topic, which will then guide further research in that particular topic. Okay. What is literature search? Literature review. It is a process of searching, or locating, or identifying a referential information regarding a particular issue or problem. Okay. Searching for some information, authentic information. Okay. Published information, globally accepted information. Okay. Let's say I want to compare in between Sati Pratha and slavery. I want to compare what are the effects, what are the extent of effect that Sati Pratha had at that time and slavery has at this time. What I should understand, that I should understand the basic values and norms about slavery and basic values and norms about Sati Pratha, right? Sati Pratha means a mm, it's a tradition where if a husband dies, then wife has to burn herself along with his husband's death body, right? Husband's dead body. They had to burn themselves, right? That is Sati Pratha. And today, the slavery, almost similar, working as housemaids and then being like tortured and being sexually harassed and everything. That is, what is the extent of seriousness, offense, right? For this purpose, I need to have some fundamental knowledge regarding that particular topic that I'm going to research in. Okay, that is simply literature search. We have figured out some issues in a particular context or environment or society. In, let's say, in our society, there is a problem, that is domestic violence. To talk about domestic violence, I need to know about few laws and regulations regarding the domestic violence, right? That's how it works. I need to have some information. For that, I go and search some information, some authentic information, constitution. These are the literatures. Books, online sources. These are the literatures. Okay. Purpose and need of literature search, literature review, reviewing the theory. If we want to train our dog at home, then classical conditioning learning theory is important. Maybe how to motivate, right, your pet, how to control them, how to train them. Right? There are multiple theories. If you want to maximize a profit in your organization, in your banking sector, the financial institution, there are multiple theories related to profit making. Right? You can go through that. There are multiple theories. So reviewing the theory is one purpose. Problem statement, how to problemify. If we think there is one problem, that is a huge problem in our society. But whenever we go and find the literature regarding this, find the information, and then I find that it's it's not that serious issue in the society. Right? It's not that serious. That's why to develop a problem statement, to develop a statement of problem, there is need of literature source. Otherwise, the issue that we have seen as problem might not be the real problem if we don't go through the literature source before we develop the statement of problem. Okay, to improve self knowledge, to enrich your knowledge level, you can go for literature source. Then to assess need of problem, what are the need of that problem that you need to investigate, right? To support on tools, methods, findings, and data collection. These are few importance or needs or purposes of literature source. Okay, the literature review process. Select a topic, select a topic, and then select the literature related to your topic, and then develop the argument. Okay, you can develop the argument, survey the literature, and then critique the literature, write review. Right? If you're trying to locate one particular theory or literature, you get multiple literatures, and then you need to uh, survey the literatures as well, right? You need to prioritize the literature. So you need to develop the argument. What are the answers that I want to find? You need to develop the argument. That's why it is easy to figure out your literature, and then to survey your information, to skip like to just like to figure out the proper location for your topic. Okay, that is the survey of the literature. You find a topic, you select a problem, gender violence, right? Search the literature and go and find the violence related and uh, let's say sexual violence related literatures or books or articles, anything. And then you develop the argument. What are the topic that I want to enter in? What are the themes that I can develop within this? Violence, domestic or community violence, violence related to uh, alcohol or related to household issues, multiple things, right? Develop the argument, survey the literature, just scroll the literature, just find the proper location, locate it, critique the literature. Okay, these are the things that I don't need from that literature. Even if I have due respect to the literature, I don't want this. Okay, give some critical perspective on that document as well, and then write the review, get the gist of the information that you need. Okay, okay, now literature review. Okay, what is literature review? We have already said, right? Systematic identification and location of documents concerning information related to the research problem or the issue that you have chosen to search, right? We can see the note. Literature review is also known as literature search, finding literature, locating literature, and other many, many ways of reflecting upon the literature review. Okay, a review of literature, same thing. Developing your conscience, like perspectives, develop your own way of own worldview in regard that particular topic. These are the characteristics of literature review. Okay. Primary source of literature review. Okay, these are the things. Say like whenever we talk about primary and secondary literature, primary literatures are those which we witness in our like in our mm, let's say in person. Let's say, right, I have got this particular book which is original, which is written from the author, original author, and then we need to read it on our own. It has to be eyewitness. It has to be original document. Periodicals can be, but it has to be authentic. Okay, the first-hand information, primary source, original research, and then secondary source. Few reviews of literatures. If we don't have that much time to go through all the literature, and then we can go through the literature reviews and integrative reviews. Okay, and then a few internet sources which uses the secondary information that bring the information from the original source, and then they just reflect. These are the secondary sources which are not the real author that we read through. Okay, and then people sometimes talk about the tertiary source of information or literature review. That means it is a way of mm, let's say scheming the information regarding the primary source of information. Okay, it is to locate the primary sources or secondary sources. There are few, let's say, mm, uh, uh, how to say, I couldn't just find the word. Mm, they borrow someone else's information, and then they just provide you with the list of information, right? From where you could get the information. That is tertiary. Let's say Google asks with Google, who is the writer of this theory? Right? They give the information, and then you could go and for primary and secondary source of this information. Okay, this is the tertiary. This is clearly shown here. Okay, secondary data is primary sources mean diaries, theses means uh, mm, thesis, right? Thesis means the dissertation work, the projects, right? Conference papers. These are more primarily uh, mm, mm, available materials, right? Conference paper. If conference paper is compiled, and then that becomes a manual or a big book, right? And also the books from writers, and then the original books, they are from primary sources. Okay, secondary sources, review articles, scholarly books, and popular literatures. Scholar books, but they are not they are collecting the information, right, from others, and then they publish the book. The popular literatures, we could read the original books of the writers, right? So these are secondary. Summary publication, that also comes within the secondary source. And then tertiary source is guidelines to literature, annotated bibliography.